we can have the country back that we want. Because other than that, it's gone. It's gone.
I would suggest David Barton's book, Black and White in American History, if you've not read it.
I have.
Correct. Well, then you have to see how, how wonderful it is.
And get them into the hands of other people. You know, if you know 2 other black people, buy my book for yourself because you need to know. Because you can't just sit up there. But then get it to their hands too. Because, and let me tell you, people are coming up. There's me. There's Anita Moncrief. There are
C.L. Bryant.
Star Parker. People are like, you know what? Enough. We've been patient enough. We were polite enough. Because if we don't win, and if we let this go on, oh my God, it's just like look how they treated Ted Cruz. You know why they don't like Ted Cruz? Because he doesn't fit their narrative. Right. Okay, he's an attorney. He's brilliant. People forget he's brilliant. He went to Harvard, and he's what? Hispanic? You know? Are you kidding me? They want him to play for the other team. They're mad that he isn't. You know? I bet he's been audited.
Gordon hates him with a passion.
Hispanic, so, I mean, they don't want you to acknowledge that.
Well, we don't need to have Hispanic.
Well,
Hispanic's insane. We don't need to have black, but they want to play that game. Yeah, we don't need that game. But
If we want to get your word out, this will be on YouTube in a couple of days. Maybe
Perfect.
Bob can share the links or whatever. But I had one question about the Cuomo de Blasio thing in New York over the charter schools. Did you
Yes.
see the 11,000 blacks or whatever that were just supporting Cuomo like crazy because they
No.
want education? So it looks like the Democrats are split over a Republican issue, and it looks like we've got a real opportunity to.
we always have.
Yeah, well, it's
but-
more noticeable now.
We have, and that's what I'm saying. All we've got to do, and you know what? We don't. 18%. That's low-hanging fruit. So you line up 100 black people, just get 18. You know, you don't have to. Are those there are people, and people say, what do you say to those people who look at Barack Obama as a god? Because they have deified Barack Obama. I mean, that is true. That is true. They look at him like he cannot sink. And I said, well, see if he can. Put him out there and see if he can. But what you do is I always tell people, just like Elijah, prove your God. Prove your God. Barack Obama has not been good to anybody but Barack Obama. Anybody but Barack Obama.
I know some minorities, but I get the feeling after knowing them, I could put books in their hands, they wouldn't read them.
Tell them to call me. Tell them to call me. I mean, let's pray for that because that's insane because it's hurting them more than anybody else.
That's right.
You know, that's the whole point. I'm still the only black person in Highland Park. You know, and people not because there's this deed restriction, but because of the poverty that's increased in the black community. Look at entrepreneurs. My story would not have happened today. When I got into the banking business, because all of Dodd-Frank and all of this and all of the overregulations, people who, and I always tell people, how did I get to be number one at Bank of America? I worked harder than anybody else. And when people would go to work and come and get off work, I was still at work. I was at work when they got there. I was at work when they left. And people would say, thank God it's Friday. I would say, thank God it's any day, because it was the same. Like you said, the Groundhog Day was always at work. I told my customer, I have customers here in Canton. They will tell you, you say, well, yeah, I know Karen, and she's a hard worker, and is there and does what I said, blah, blah, blah. That's how you make it in this country. But what's happening now is you can't do that anymore. Because I can't employ someone unless I want to put on expensive Obamacare. I knew there was a black gentleman who did some smart things, played for the NFL, went to Baylor, started businesses, didn't get into the weird drama, good solid Christian guy. He had, I think, 12 Burger Kings. He told me, he said, Karen, I'm selling everything. Because who can afford to run those operations? They're sitting there attacking their employers. Because the employees are telling them, you're not paying us enough. So they are sabotaging their own, they're setting up these divisions. They have, black, white, you see what I'm saying? Rich, poor. They talk about the rich like they, stole the money. and instead of they worked hard for it, instead of saying, well, how did you get it? You know, people, I've tried to mentor so many people. I'm like, I will show you how to work in this country. I will show you how. Doesn't mean you're always going to make it, but you'll have a better chance by hard work beats luck any day. And, you know, the thing is,
too.
yeah, and the thing is, that's the beauty of this nation. And if we don't see, people here, when they messed up, when the Soviet Union took over, and you've got the South America, Central America, Africa, you know, Europe, when they became, then where did those people come? They came here. Where will we go? You know? And if you don't think they'll come after us, yeah. I mean, I'm telling you guys, this is serious. They are trying, isn't it interesting that they're starting a race war? And they are starting a race war. Isn't it interesting that Roots is always on TV now? I mean, isn't that surprising? Why is Roots always playing on TV? Isn't it interesting that 12 Years a Slave was the #1 picture? And I always tell people, I'm glad it wasn't 13 Years a Slave. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're constantly making victims of people and dredging up old wounds. Isn't it also interesting that Oprah Winfrey, so they keep on pushing out the line for success so far. When Oprah was in, I think, Sweden, someplace, and some woman didn't want to show her an $80,000 purse. You know, there are 3 women in the whole world that would ever even buy an $80,000 purse. Oprah just happened to be one of them. But why was that a racist thing then? You know what I'm saying? Just because the woman didn't want, I mean, so now racism is all the way up to, if someone doesn't want to show you an $80,000 purse because they don't know you, I mean, isn't that just common sense? I mean, it's an $80,000 purse, someone could run, I mean, you know, I mean, it's just kind of, we keep on pushing the line where you'll never be beyond racism. And I will tell you, I am not an apologist for racism. I am not here to say racism does not exist. It does exist. And it is real. And it's harmful. And it's hurtful. And it's brutal. And it's shameful. But racism is not bigger than God.
That's right.
And it's not bigger than your dreams. And it is not the deterrent, it is not the boogeyman that they're telling people it is. It is not the unscalable mountain. But when you tell people that, oh, they're out to get you, and the reason that you're having a hard day, and the reason you lost your home, and the reason your husband lost his job is because you're black, you know. Yeah, because, and they don't like you, and so no wonder we have an increase on black on white crime. We know it. No one's reporting it. They say that knockout game, that is a real deal. And that should be a shame. But what happens when you have all these black kids who can't find jobs and you're just socializing them into saying, you know, that someone else is out to get you. Someone else hurts you. They do it, and so that's what's happening. So what is going to happen again when this race war goes full-fledged? I'm not trying to stir up stuff that isn't true. Numbers are, look at it, the crime of blacks against whites. Look at that. And then all you do is just talk about a hoodie, talk about Trayvon Martin, because people use those things and they keep on stirring it up, and they do it in such an insensitive way that people's lives and dreams are being deflated. And that's just not right. That's just not right. And it's not in honor of what really happened. And making victims of people, that's not what this country is about. The first person to die for that flag was a black man. It was Crispus Attucks.
Right.
You know, you can make a mountain out of a molehill. Racism is real, but it is not the mountain people make it. Where except in America would someone have voted for a Kenyan? Well, thank you.